I'm thrilled that you're joining me here. My name is Marilyn Evans. I'm the founder of Parents Aware and host of the Media Savvy Moms podcast, the podcast that is leading the conversation about parenting and pornography today. Today we're going to do another Dear Savvy episode, and I am joined by my friend Barb Winters. You've heard her on the show before. So glad that you can be back with us again today, Barb.
Grateful to be here. Thanks, Marilyn.
Yay. Okay, so this is a short show where we answer a question from one of our listeners. And if you'd ever like to submit a question, you can do so at admin@parentsaware.info or just contact me on any of our social media platforms. So today's question comes from a parent who learned that her child was searching out pornography. And the good news is that they discussed this issue together and she feels like they have a handle on the situation. Her question to us was, how often should she return to this conversation? So she's worried about keeping the relationship healthy and positive, and she doesn't want to make any assumptions if he's coping well or not. So, Barb, what are we going to say about this?
That's a fantastic question. I just really love when parents are paying attention and really want to be involved and they're asking the good questions. And I would say it's a delicate balance. I mean, we want our kiddos to know that we are there for them and that we care for them and that we are trying to protect them. But we also want them to feel as if we aren't hovering, we're not micromanaging their world, which ends up alienating them even more. And they might not know the difference. What may feel like hovering may just be what they need. So it is a great question and a delicate balance.
Yeah, it is. But I would say if you're upfront and honest from the get go and you say, look, this is a tough issue. We're going to need to come back to this over and over again. So I plan to check in with you regularly. And it's not because I'm worried that you're doing the wrong things, it's because I know that this is going to need support. How do you feel about that?
Definitely. We do need to check in regularly. How often, I think, is the tricky part. So, when we first learned our son had a relationship with pornography, we checked in with him every single evening for a while. But we told him, like you said, we gave him an idea. We told him up front, we are going to be checking in on you for so long every single evening. And so he was prepared for his dad to come in or for me to come into his room every night and ask him pointed questions about his progress. And then as he matured, as he healed, as he progressed through the program that we had given to him, we tapered that conversation off.
Mm-hmm. I think that's amazing and great that you had the insight to do that. You know, this is something that requires attention, and we're asking a lot of our kids if we're expecting them to do it on their own. So I know as a parent that we worry about making mistakes and what we're going to say, and what if we say the wrong thing and it just makes the situation worse. I always say, let's just assume that we're going to make mistakes. Let's assume that we're going to say a lot of wrong things along the way. And let's just clear that out right
Yes.
now. But the
Yes.
more we do it, like the more you keep going back, if you were talking to your son every night, then you're going to start to read the room. You're going to start to read his
Yeah.
emotions. You're going to
Yeah.
start to know what he needs. And he'll probably tell you either in body language or verbally when you're doing things that aren't sitting right. So just go ahead and make those mistakes.
Right. And I made several mistakes as we were going through. And I just went back to him and I said, I'm really sorry. Can we have a redo? Can we start this over? But the important part was just to continue to have those discussions, to not back off. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Yes. So I guess the question was, how often do we want to put a number on it, Barb?
Well, I for me, it really depends on how involved the child is in the pornography. So have enough discussions that you can understand how involved they really are. Is this a one-time event? Is it something that's ongoing? Um,
So true.
At least,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to jump in. So if you've got a young child and they've seen it, been exposed, but haven't developed a habit of looking at it, then frequent conversations about uh, screen safety and including discussions about pornography are going to be helpful. Maybe weekly for a little while, monthly. It's hard to put a date on it,
Yeah.
like you say, but if a child is really struggling, then you're going to up that frequency. Is that a fair answer?
Yes, I say that's absolutely fair. And in addition to having those regular check-ins, I say we need to look for those open doors. So, if you're going throughout your day and you see something on the television, for example, that can lead to a question about sexuality, or if you're in the middle of reading an article, especially with older ones, if you say, "Hey, listen to this, what I just read. What do you think about that?" We want to make it part of normal conversation in addition to those times where we're like, okay, this is your check-in time. Uh,
I love that. That is such an important point, and you hit it right on the mark. This can become just normal conversation. I know that sounds strange if it's not part of your routine right now, but that's where we want to go with it.
yeah, definitely.
There's not that set time. It just happens. It just flows.
Right.
Okay, which brings us, I think, to our resource for today 10 natural ways to talk to your kids about pornography. And this is a great little resource to do just that, to have those spontaneous conversations, maybe around media, maybe around tech, maybe around something that's in the news, and some other ideas on how to bring it up. So download that today. Our quote today comes from Smith Alley, who I interviewed not too long ago on this podcast. He says recovery is a team effort, and he admits that he was not happy when his parents got all up in his business about his tech use. But in retrospect, he knows that their continued support is what helped him find freedom from pornography. He says, quote, I was struggling, but I was so good at putting up a mask, and I think a lot of kids are, end quote.
So we are challenging you, parents, to journal some ideas about when and how to bring up the conversation, whether it's in a car ride, whether it's a lunch date, maybe while you're going bicycling together or having a snack together. It can be, normal, everyday things that are going on. And you might also want to jot down things about how you felt, how when you were their age, and present that information to them also.
Thank you again for joining the conversation. If you'd like more information about what was discussed in this episode, visit our detailed show notes at parentsaware.info. And if you simply want to follow us on social media, we are at Media Savvy Moms on Instagram and parentsaware/Media Savvy Moms podcast on Facebook. Until next time, keep talking.